Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 7th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see this big mess of clouds and this energy north of the Hawaiian Islands, California to the right. This is not the immediate threat to California. What we're going to be watching here is still way out across the western Pacific Ocean, but it will be approaching the state of California as we go on in towards next week and potentially on in through next weekend. We'll take a look at the latest on that. Looks like things are going to get active here for much of the state. And if we take a look at the visible satellite imagery right now, this precipitation, anything out there falling is light right now, and it will be wrapping up as we go through the day today. You can see that we've got some low clouds across, Los Angeles, San Diego, Orange County out there, but it's already looks like it's burning off, and some areas of low clouds, maybe some fog across some of the southern San Joaquin Valley as well. Now, coastal flooding this week, this is going to be on the wane here as we're start to bring these tides down a little bit, but they still are elevated. And we got some elevated wave action, at least today and a little bit of tomorrow also. And you'll see that reflected in the area forecast discussions, the beach hazard statements, coastal flood advisory, again for high tides, sneaker wave activity, and some locally big waves. And same thing for Southern California. And also the wind advisory is in effect here for portions of the transverse range to some of the coastal range. I'll show you some of that here more in a moment. In fact, starting right now. And you can see as we're going through the morning here, we got some gusty winds out of the northeast there for some of the coastal range north across some of the higher terrain just to the north of Santa Barbara and Ventura counties there. And that's going to continue as we go on in towards about tomorrow, somewhere around noon. Those will be winding down. But we continue to bring some gusty winds out of the northeast and east across much of the state. Some high pressure building in across the Great Basin. Not an overly strong offshore wind event, but it could bring some gusty winds, typical gap areas. You see the north winds coming across San Bernardino County, portions of Nevada, Arizona, northeast north winds as well. And then we scroll off in towards next week. And we're probably going to relax that gradient a bit. But if we look at that high pressure, you can kind of see it right there. You see this building in across the Intermountain West and dropping down into portions of Idaho. A little bit of higher pressure there across Nevada, Utah here as we go on in towards what is that tomorrow, Saturday. You'll also see something interesting. Look at that big Arctic high pushing down east of the Rocky Mountains. There's no effect for California here, really, but it's some very cold air east of the mountains. If you have family and friends out there, you can tell them about that. They probably already know that's coming. But you can see we've got this offshore gradient as we go through the day on Sunday. Higher pressure here wants to flow out towards the lower pressure, comes through the gaps and flows over the terrain and whatnot, but nothing overly strong again. Now, looking at the European wave model, you can see that we do have some elevated wave action today, but it is generally on the wane. But do be careful if you're going out to the coastal areas. Do watch out for the sneaker waves because there's been a couple powerful storms out there and it can generate waves. Those can come from a long way away. And so we go on in through Sunday. Look at that. We really relax some of that wave action, but it is going to be picking up again in the extended forecast as we get active on in through next week and towards next weekend. Now, taking a look here, there's that batch of energy north of the Hawaiian Islands. There's California to the right, and there's Japan way over here to the left of this image. Now, it's this area of energy here that we're watching. You'll see this area kind of looks like it's coming in here, and it might bring a big storm towards the west coast, but nope, a lot of that energy is moving up into southeast Alaska, and then it hangs out there between Hawaii and California. See this low kind of get cut off there a bit, and then we bring this next system. Look at that deep low spin up. So I'm going to toggle back and forth. You'll see that energy come across. It drops down, and we bring a deep trough off the west coast of North America, and it starts to impact portions of Northern California first. It'll slide down the state and start to impact Southern California again as we go through the end of next week. This goes 144 hours out. This will be next Wednesday night, what I'm showing you right there. Now, if we take a look at the European artificial intelligence, which goes out farther, there goes that energy that I showed you on the infrared satellite imagery. Again, gets cut off out here between Hawaii and California. The next system starts to drop in there, and you can see the precipitation arriving. Look at that, potentially heavy at times across portions of Southern California. It's still a ways out in the forecast. You're still looking off towards the end of next week, but the models have been very consistent with these storm systems arriving as we go on in through next week. Now, this is that energy. I like to show the Himawari satellite here. Sometimes you can see Japan. Look at that cold air kind of flowing off the continent towards Japan. And that's kind of what's feeding the storm system. So we're waiting for this energy to come all the way across the Pacific Ocean. That's why we have a ways to go. So taking a look here at what kind of precipitation the latest ensemble runs are bringing for California. So as we go through Wednesday night, it starts to come across them in Northern California. There's Thursday night right there, and you can see it's getting down towards Southern California here as well in the artificial intelligence. The European ensemble mean a little bit different there, but it does start to bring the precipitation here and a little bit heavier on the artificial intelligence, but still pretty decent amounts. Pretty strong signal there when the ensemble mean is in such good agreement. this would be all the way on into the 300-hour time frame there. But yeah, we do still show the rainfall coming all the way through Southern California down into potentially Mexico even as well. And looking at total snow, we'll just scroll out there and look off into next week, and you can see some of that Sierra Nevada snowfall coming. Who knows how the system will line up. There's a little bit of potential maybe for some of the transverse or peninsula range, some of the higher peaks to get a little bit out of that as well, but it doesn't show too much right now. Now, taking a look here at the 6 to 10 day, you can clearly see the Climate Prediction Centers all over it. They have the above normal signal there across California. That's November 12th through 16th. So again, still almost a week out. And we take a look at the experimental product, and again, they are paying attention. They have the risk for some moderate precipitation across the transverse, some of the coastal range maybe, and the Sierra Nevada. And again, we'll watch to see how that comes through. And the risk of heavy snow does exist as well. So glad to see them paying attention to that. But otherwise, yeah, glad to be back. I was out storm chasing on the Washington, Oregon coast the last couple of days. Did see a waterspout / tornado out there. It was pretty messy, just kind of a bowl with dark wrapping rain bands, very low clouds, and a pretty ominous representation though on the radar imagery though. You could really see that it was rotating, and it actually got tornado warned as well. So back from that, and glad to be back in my bed and get some rest. Hopefully you guys are doing well also, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. We'll continue to check that storm system. Looks like confidence is fairly high right now on that system coming through here and the pattern change. But again, you got to check back daily to see what those individual impacts are for certain areas. So anyway, hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you guys again tomorrow.